If you're watching this, you are probably trying to decide whether or not you should get a pocket-sized planner, and we are here to clear some things up today. Today I'm going to be sharing all the reasons I absolutely love my pocket-sized planner, but then I'm also going to be going into some of the cons. That way you can make the most informed decision when it comes to choosing a planner size that is right for you. If you're new here, hello, hi, welcome. My name is Hope if you're new, and I'm really excited that you're joining us today. I have been using this pocket Filofax for quite a few months now, and it has really become my absolute favorite way of planning, and so I've made a little list of all the reasons why I love this size specifically. I remember when I was trying to figure out what size of like a rings planner I wanted to get, the hardest part for me was really trying to figure out what size would fit my needs without overdoing it. And of course here we are, so I did decide on the pocket size, but I wanted to share some of those reasons with you in case maybe you're on the fence between a pocket or compact or personal. There are quite a few planner sizes to choose from, so I'm here to state my case on why I prefer the pocket size ones. And then of course, like I said, we are going to be talking about some of the cons as well. I want to make sure that you guys have all the information there is. So yeah, thank you guys so much for being here today. I've got my little vanilla latte. Every week whenever I sit down to do a bit of planning or like work in my planner to like get it prepped for the week, I always try and make like a different type of coffee. And so today was a little vanilla latte, but I did it with a vanilla sweet cream cold foam. I already kind of mixed it in, but I was able to make it myself at home. I will link the recipe I used down below. It is super, super good. But anyways, let's go ahead and jump into the first reason why I love a pocket-sized planner. And honestly, it might be pretty obvious, but I love the pocket size because of how portable it is. This was probably my driving factor when it came to deciding between a personal size and then a pocket. I really wanted something that could potentially double as a wallet, and I'll show you guys what I usually do. So I took them out for the purpose of this video just to keep my information private and stuff, but I typically will keep my driver's license as well as my most used credit card in this top little slot here. Also in here, I have a little punch card from the coffee shop I go to, so I like to keep that in there as well. But this pocket-sized Filofax really does function as a wallet for me. Back here in the zipper section, I do keep some cash and then coins. And so what's really nice about this is it does fit in pretty much every purse I use. I have gotten quite a few requests to do like a what's in my bag video, so I am going to be doing one of those pretty soon. But this planner has honestly fit into any bag that I find myself using most often. I am somebody who likes a more medium to large size bag, so I think that's why I'm able to get away with it. But if you're somebody who wants to have a planner that they can take everywhere with them and then kind of make it a little bit multifunctional and then use it as a wallet as well, I would absolutely say that the pocket size planner is the one for you. I also had a system set up in the back of my planner. I think it was in category number 4 or like divider 4, but I had a thing back there where I was kind of categorizing all of my receipts. I did stop doing that just because I wasn't using the app to scan receipts as much as I was before. I was using Fetch for a really long time and then another one or something, but I kind of stopped doing that as often. But when I was doing that, it was really nice because I use these little plastic divider things and I was able to put all my receipts in there. And so I never forgot anything. If maybe I had to return something I got later on, I always knew where my receipt was. And so I think it was an extra way for me to stay organized and use my planner in a way that really did benefit me. So that is definitely reason number 1 to choose the pocket size planner, just because it is so portable and it's a little bit bigger than the compact size, I believe it's called. If that's not the right name, I'll write it somewhere up there so you guys can reference it. But I think the compact size is maybe an inch or so smaller. But I just thought that that wasn't going to be quite enough room for me. So pocket size was like the perfect middle ground in between something small and portable, but then also big enough to be able to actually write in and use it for my daily planning. That leads us into the second reason to choose a pocket size planner, and that's because it has just enough space. I'm sure you guys have heard the story about the 3 bears with the bed that was too big, too small, and then just right. That is honestly how I feel about pocket size planners. I think it is just enough space to where I'm really able to write everything in. I don't have to miss out on any information, but at the same time, it's not too much space. I think a really good example of that can be found in my monthly spreads. I remember I used to carry around this planner with me. I want to say it was an A5 or something, but it was bigger. It was like maybe that big, and it always took up all the space in my bag or my purse or my backpack or whatever. And I remember looking at it one time thinking, okay, there is just a ton of wasted space in this thing. If you notice, on the days that I don't have anything going on, it's only like an inch. And so it's just enough space to write down any events you might have going on, but it's not like it's an excessive giant page that you have to carry around whether you like it or not. That was a really big motivator for me. You can even see right here how I have so much empty space. Think about how much space that would be in a planner that is 2 to 3 times this size. I think this was the perfect balance because I'm not really missing out on anything. I'm still able to write down all of my events, but at the same time, it's not like excessive, if that makes sense. I also feel that way about my daily spread. I love being able to plan out my day hour by hour, but I didn't always fill in the entire page. Ultimately, that always left me feeling like I wasn't taking full advantage or like using the planner to the fullest extent possible. And so working in a pocket-sized planner, being able to genuinely fill out this entire page every single day, that's been really satisfying and nice for me just because I don't feel like I'm wasting any space, if that makes sense. But if I were to go any smaller than this, I think it might be a little bit difficult. Here is kind of like what my hand looks like writing on it, and I feel like sometimes it does feel a little bit squished together. I'm able to get away with it on the daily spreads because it is a page per day. So I do think it is about finding a balance that works for you, but I would definitely recommend it if you are someone who doesn't want to feel like they're not making full use of their planner. I have never felt that way with this one, and that has been a really, really nice feeling. Okay, the third and fourth reasons are a little bit like interwoven, but starting with number 3, a pocket-sized planner is way less overwhelming. Now, I've used quite a few different planners in the past. I've done digital planning, I've done the traveler's notebook, I've done the good old bullet journaling, I have done all sorts of different styles of planning, and I have found that this has been the least overwhelming option for me. If you are someone who will sometimes spend more time planning than time actually doing what you want to do, then I think a pocket-sized planner might be really beneficial for you. I have found that when I use a planner like this, let me show you guys for size reference. This was one of my last planners that I was working on when I was still doing the bullet journal method. I received a comment the other day about someone mentioning that like the bullet journal method is a method and it doesn't apply to like a specific journal. So I just wanted to quickly reference that typically when I talk about bullet journaling, I'm usually referring to a dotted planner just in case I mix that up again in the future. I just usually have done that method of journaling in that type of planner, so my brain has kind of just combined them, so bear with me with that. But just for size, I have spent so many hours planning in my life, and typically it's because there's so much room to work with. I have found that using a pocket-sized planner with pocket-sized inserts has been a really nice middle ground for me, just because so much of it is pre-made. Let me show you a good example. Here is my cleaning checklist. I printed this out one time. It's small, it's not that overwhelming, it's not like this giant checklist that I have to go and redo or rewrite every single week. It's something that I just had to do one time, and now if I wanted to print another copy, I always could. Same thing goes for my Days I Read calendar, my 100 book challenge. All of these things are preset and small enough to where they don't feel overwhelming. Let me show you what I mean. So here is one of my old bullet journals. This was my weekly meal plan, which means that every single week I had to go in, write down what I was gonna eat on Monday through Sunday. I wrote down my shopping list, things that were already in my pantry, and this was just one page for one week. And now that I'm not feeling the need to like fill up this entire journal, since I'm only working in something that is pocket sized, I feel like it's just not as overwhelming. Here is another good example. This was from like a daily layout thing that I was trying out. Every single day I would write down the date. I would do a little time calendar here. And so that would be like my hourly appointments / schedule. Then I would go in, I would write down the 3 things I'm grateful for. I would write down daily moments, so like little memorable things that have happened. Then I would also go ahead and write down my to-do list for that day over on this side. And of course, I would repeat that again on Tuesday, and then again on Wednesday, and again on Thursday, and this cycle repeated over and over and over. There was just something that I think was a little bit overwhelming about this, and it was also very difficult to maintain. So that is why I think that the pocket size planner has just been so much nicer. It's almost because there's less space to actually do stuff with. You don't overcomplicate things anymore. So that really does lead us to the fourth and final point that I wrote down regarding why I prefer a pocket-sized planner, and that is because it's really, really easy to maintain. Obviously, in this bullet journal that I'm showing you guys, it is a little bit different, but like this was my weekly spread, and I would write down things I was gonna do in the morning hours versus the afternoon hours. I would write down notes, I would write down weekly goals, things that were happening on the weekend. It was just so much information. Definitely let me know if you guys ever want like a tour of some of my bullet journals, because I probably have upwards of probably 15 to 20 of them. But it just got so difficult to maintain, and it really got to the point where I felt like I was spending more time planning than I was actually doing what I was planning, if that makes sense. So when I was deciding whether or not I was going to get the personal size Filofax versus the pockets, I think it really came down to whether or not I thought I would overcomplicate things again. Like in the case that I have more space to work with, would I make things more complicated than they need to be? Ultimately, I decided that the answer was yes, which is how I wound up choosing the pocket size. But I do think it is really person to person. It is going to depend on kind of what you value in terms of how much stuff you have to write down. Do you enjoy the process of planning? I know that for a long time doing bullet journaling, I really did enjoy like drawing out everything week by week and even day by day, but then eventually I got to a point where it wasn't bringing me that same type of joy, and so having a system like this has just worked a lot better for me. And yeah, those are my pros for choosing a pocket-sized planner. Now I do have two different cons written down. Number one involves the daily and weekly spreads. If you are somebody who is writing down a lot of information, you really like to keep notes, and you use your planner as that like space, I don't know if I would recommend a pocket size just because you are somewhat limited. Like here's a good example. This was just Thursday through Sunday. I put a little line down at the center here, and I do events on the left hand side, and then I do like tasks and stuff on the right hand side. When I'm doing this, I do have to be kind of selective with what I'm writing in. This doesn't contain any of the things that I have to do for work or anything outside of like my creative pursuits. I really mainly use this planner for creative work. I use it for like studying, so like my school schedule, and then also just personal things like stuff I want to get done around the house. So there is like a very special case use for this, because otherwise I feel like I would just be writing down too much information in my like weekly log. So I would say one con is definitely the fact that if you have to write down a ton of information in your weekly or daily spreads, I would exercise a bit of caution, just because I don't want you to get a planner that isn't going to be enough space for you. But if you are able to summarize things, and if you are able to condense things down and make it very like to the point, so like I write down an event, but I'm not writing down the location of the event. When I did bullet journaling, and even in my traveler's notebook, I was able to write down the location of things. So if I had to go for a meeting somewhere, I'm not just writing down a 10 a.m. meeting, I'm also writing down the location and then maybe even the person that I'm meeting with. So I think that if you're somebody who likes to include a lot of information in your planner, then maybe you would want to go for a size up. And that kind of leads me into the second con, which is if you are a very heavy writer, then I don't know if the pocket size would work for you. If you're somebody who likes to take down the occasional note, like I'll sometimes write my grocery list in here, stuff like that, like notes here and there throughout the day, this is the perfect size for that because there is enough space. But if you are somebody who is using their notebook as like a second brain, then you might want to get something that's a little bit bigger. I personally use this pocket planner for my planning, scheduling, habit tracking, stuff like that. And then I have another journal that I use for my deeper gratitude journaling, my dream log, and then also different elements of like manifesting and vision boarding. That is in a separate journal. And then I have another journal on top of that that I use for my more detailed memory keeping. I think you have to use it in addition to other things. Like, let me show you. This is the journal that I use for all of my memory keeping. So if I just want to write about how my day went, or if something cool happened and I don't want to forget about it ever, that is going to be written in here and not in here. So this is really functioning as a pocket planner, not a pocket everything book, if that makes sense. I do keep lists and stuff like that in here as well. So I think I have like my books to read list, movies to watch, things to thrift. I have my gift list, and then like stickers and random stuff in here, but I'm not using it to log my everyday memories. So if you are a very heavy writer, I would either A, get a pocket planner and use it just for planning, and then get another journal and use that for more of your like journaling, or I would B, get a bigger one, like maybe the personal size or even an A5 if you are wanting to keep everything all in one place. So I really hope that was able to give you guys some good insight into whether or not a pocket size planner is right for you. If you have any questions or maybe comments or even advice for other people who are looking, definitely feel free to leave that down below in the comment section. I have been absolutely loving hearing all of your stories about where you got your planner from, the fact that you have another one coming in the mail soon. It's just really cool and I'd love to hear it. So definitely keep sharing those stories and keeping me updated on what is going on in your own planning life. I post new videos here every single week. I also post some vlogs, so you can definitely check those out as well. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. It honestly means the world to me, and I am so happy and grateful that you're here, and I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye guys.